Welcome to Soccer in 60, presented by the Empire Strykers. Get ready for your weekly look at all the pro soccer teams in Greater Los Angeles. We've got all the news and analysis you need, from LAFC and the LA Galaxy to the Empire Strykers, Angel City FC, and Orange County Soccer Club. Now, buckle up and enjoy Soccer in 60.
Buckle up indeed. Welcome to the fastest paced soccer podcast in SoCal. This is Soccer in 60, brought to you by SAC Health System, covering all the week's news, highlights, and more from LAFC, the Galaxy, Angel City, Orange County Soccer Club, and of course, the Major Arena Soccer League's very own Empire Strykers. Hello and welcome. I'm JR Liebert, still your friendly neighborhood scarf, and I am joined by the birthday boy himself. Sometimes we pre-record this on a Wednesday, but you're listening to this on a Thursday. Happy 21st birthday, Timmy K. Tim Kolach.
Hey, great to be with you today there, JR the Scarf. And it's great to be part of the gang, man. Thanks for the birthday wishes, man. It's a good day, being 21 again for the second time. Let's just say that.
Right. Very excited for our interview today. Of course, Jeff Burum, managing partner of the Empire Strykers and president of the MASL, the highest level of indoor soccer in the world. Turns out there were a ton of matches played that we will cover, but oh my goodness, a bomb has absolutely gone off in Major League Soccer. An incredible signing, a huge signing in Los Angeles at BMO Stadium. The paperwork is done. The ink is still wet. Heung-Min's son is black and gold. We will talk all about that later in the podcast. Timmy K, I got to ask up top, how are you spending your birthday, my friend?
You know what? We're going to do a little work in the morning, and then we're going to go full send. We're going to go to a pug cafe down in Escondido.
Love it.
And then we're going to a great event down in San Diego called Tiki Oasis. It's going to be
well, you know what, Tim? You may be able to take Omnitrans there if you plan your trip right. In partnership with the Empire Strykers, don't forget to experience the thrill of game day with Omnitrans. Be in the heart of the action at Toyota Arena and let Omnitrans take care of the ride. Simply download the Transit app to catch your bus and enjoy a stress-free trip to cheer on the Strykers. Don't miss the excitement and make every moment at Toyota Arena count. Ride with Omnitrans to your next Empire Strykers game. We got a lot to talk about with LAFC, but first we are starting with the Galaxy, and we are bringing on friend of the show, Rob Halon. Very excited to have you back, my friend. Rob, good to see you, bud.
It's good to see you guys as well. Thank you so much for having me back. I'm surprised. I thought I was canceled, but no, it's good to be back. And a happy birthday, Tim. Exciting times.
Muchas gracias, mi amigo Rob.
I love it. Don't forget, you can follow Rob at Lacuna Galaxy on a podcast. We'll let Rob plug that one more time before we kick him out of here after a couple of segments. But Rob, it's been a roller coaster start to the 2025 Leagues Cup for the defending MLS champs as they pound Xolos 5-2 last Thursday before coming back late to tie, only to lose on PKs in a champion versus champion match against Cruz Azul. Let's talk real quick about this Xolos match. A dream match offensively for the Galaxy as they were able to get all things rolling. We got Nascimento who scores, Peck and Royce keep their form going, a brace from Paintsill. A lot of good things to take away on the offensive side of the ball for sure, Rob.
Yeah, no, definitely. The offense set them up for a win. They needed to come out and take all 3 points from the first match and set themselves up for the second match, which they came out and did. And, it set them up nicely for a date against Cruz Azul.
Yeah, now let me ask you. 30 shots surrendered, 10 on target. But you know what? Sometimes the best defense is a good offense, right? That's something that you and I have actually talked about on both your podcast and mine. Can you just talk real quick about the state of the Galaxy defense and what it feels like going into this last Leagues Cup Phase 1 match?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, you're going to have some rotation by nature of Seattle coming to the digs on Sunday, right? So, and then you also have tired legs. I mean, you saw Marco Royce that was gassed at the end of the Cruz Azul match. So you're going to have a little bit of a rotation. Mickey Yamane started the last one. You might see Mauricio Cuevas back in there. You might see Maya Yoshida reclaim his starting spot as well in favor of either Zanka or Emilio Garces. And, it's a question mark as to how much we'll see Marco Royce. And so if he doesn't go ahead and get the start, look for Diego Fagundes to play that 10 role. And, maybe Lucas Sanabria gets the start in midfield again.
Yeah. Hey, Rob, about that, the Xolos game. I mean, you see these guys come out and they go out and they win 5-2. What was the main takeaway from that game that they were to lead them into that Cruz Azul match, and how come they couldn't take on that same level of form? Because Cruz Azul played far better than Galaxy did in that second match.
Well, I mean, you said it. I mean, there's two different games, two different opponents, and no disrespect to Club Tijuana, but Cruz Azul is just at a different level. They are the CONCACAF Cup champions, and you saw that in the match play, right? They were all over the Galaxy in different phases. The first 10 minutes were very chaotic, right? So the offense does set them up for a nice win against Club Tijuana, because Club Tijuana, again, no disrespect, isn't at Cruz Azul's level, but they couldn't dictate, the Galaxy that is, couldn't dictate terms in their own stadium against Cruz Azul by level of the opponent. And not only that, they couldn't dictate terms in their own stadium because the crowd was basically 70-30 Cruz Azul.
Yeah, and that was that's the other big thing too. Me and JR talked about it last week, that we were fully expecting that, right, JR?
Oh, absolutely. Look, I thought it would be worse for Xolos actually than Cruz Azul, with them being so close, although Cruz Azul many more followers, one would assume, in California than Xolos. The matchup against Santos Laguna kind of puts you guys in a good spot, right? Because Santos Laguna has not been a good team traditionally in Liga MX. They're not having a good run of form here in Leagues Cup. And look, you can close out phase one and move on against with 3 points against Santos Laguna.
Yeah, no, you absolutely said it. Santos Laguna hasn't been playing great in Liga MX at all. I think it's one win in the last 11. It's 3 in the last 30 and 5 in the last 46. Yeah. Right. So, I mean, they've been going through. Yeah, they've been going through hard times, and only 3 ties in that span as well. So they've only 8 results out of 46 games. Right. However, the Galaxy at points this season haven't played up to the level that they should, and have played down to their competition. They were in a really good run of form. They rattled off 2 wins in a row, 2 shutout wins in a row. Offense was playing great. They came out and laid a stinker against Austin, lost 2-1 at home, right? So you would expect them, yes, to win this game, but you never know with the Galaxy, which Galaxy team you're going to get. If they play up to their level, how they should, then this should be a breeze. Now, the other question is how many goals they actually need to get to go through, right? I believe at last check, it was something like +4. So the Galaxy got to get, a 4-0, I believe, at the moment, to go ahead and go through. And do they have the goals in them? Yes. Is it going to be tough? Yes. Who knows what's going to happen?
Yeah, that's the beauty of this Leagues Cup, right? How ridiculous the tiebreakers are right now. I mean, for a club like Galaxy, they could win 2 out of 3 of their matches and really play well, and yet it doesn't matter, right? Because of these tiebreakers, it's wins first, but then goals for, and then fewest allowed, and it's a hot mess of tiebreakers for sure in Leagues Cup. But I got to ask you something, Rob. I said this a couple of weeks ago. I said it to you on your own podcast, but I also said it here on Soccer in 60. The chance to win a trophy has reinvigorated this club, right? We all know how Galaxy started first 15 matches of the season and what their standings are in the MLS table. But you can throw all that out. They're basically resetting their season, and they actually played pretty well coming into this tournament, Rob. Your thoughts on what we're seeing from the Galaxy kind of circling the wagons and putting their best foot forward to try to advance into the top 4 and then become, one of just 8 teams left. All you got to do is place top 3 to get yourself that Champions League spot.
Well, you said it, Scarf. I mean, this is a chance for a trophy. You know that nothing has been going right in the league. You're probably not going to make the playoffs. So give the fans something to smile about. You got to go all out for this tournament, right? This is a chance for silverware. It gets you in to the Champions Cup. If you want to be considered one of the elite clubs on the continent, you need to be playing continental football. And that's going to happen if you win this tournament. And I said it was +4 earlier. It's actually +3. So they need, to get that fourth goal to get through.
Listen, Santos Laguna is the club that could totally make it happen, right? Right, Tim? I mean, that result is there for them.
It's there for the taking, Rob. And
it is.
It's one of these games where if the Galaxy play to the way the Galaxy can play, to that higher level and not down to the competition like they've done on multiple occasions, but play like they did when they were shutting out teams a couple in a row, right? You get these guys, and then you get Paintsill to keep running on. You get Peck to keep carrying the team on its shoulder, and you get Royce. Hopefully he's got some. Hopefully he's got some good work with the trainer and getting those legs back to full firing shape.
There's been a lot of games for Marco Royce. I mean, the man's 36, and he's been carrying a heavy load. I mean, he's been the Galaxy's most productive player, right? So it's not out of the realm of possibility, again, to maybe not see him start this match. However, the Galaxy, by just how important the match is, I mean, we saw Greg Vanney in the press conference today say that this is a big match for them. Anything that Marco Royce can give them, I think that Greg Vanney is going to go ahead and say, hey, if you can start, go ahead and give me 45, give me 60, give me however much you can, so they can go ahead and get on the front foot.
So do you think it would be better that he plays that second half, though?
Honestly, I would go ahead and go with them from the beginning, get on the front foot, take a control of this game, start quick, get 2-3 goals up in the first half. And, if you're controlling the game, if you feel comfortable, go ahead and take them off. There's no need to risk them, honestly.
Yeah, and let me get your thoughts on this real quick, Rob, because I know how you feel about their playoff chances. You empty the tank for Leagues Cup, right? With Seattle coming on August 10th, hosting Seattle. Look, it'd be great to get 3 points and maybe keep those percentages alive for the MLS Cup playoffs. But are you pushing all the chips into the middle versus playing a little bit more for the win at Seattle? Which one are you taking? By the way, before we talk about LAFC, which is coming up soon, and a fantastic interview with Jeff Burum.
No, I mean, if you're the Galaxy, several of these players have said, hey, we haven't given up on the playoffs yet. I keep saying on La Cuna Galaxiana, it's not impossible, it's just highly improbable. The players still believe, so they're still going to go out and give everything against Seattle. Greg Vanney is going to approach that game the same way. He certainly believes that there's something to be taken from the league table still, and until they're mathematically out of it, I don't really think that they're going to kind of lay over, basically.
All right, well, we're going to keep you on as we get ready, folks. We're bringing on the voice you hear at the top of all this for the intro. It's the man, the myth, the legend himself, one Christian Philly Philemon. How are you, bud?
Good, man. Listening to your intro, I had to ask, what now makes this the fastest paced soccer pod? What have I missed in the past few weeks that I haven't been on? Am I that slow, Scarf? You know what? Never mind. Don't even answer that. It's good to be back here.
It's Soccer in 60, my friend. 5 clubs covered in just 60 minutes of action. We got the fantastic interview with Jeff Burum that I know you were a part of for sure. But Philly, I got to ask, and I don't mean to do this while Rob is right here, but he is right here. There are some interesting times ahead for LAFC. You were at the press conference today. Heung-min Son is officially black and gold. What was it like today at BMO Stadium?
It was wild. You're right. We're living in interesting times, and everybody's saying, hey, look, we've got Müller, we've got Messi, we've got Son in MLS. What people aren't talking about also is the fact that Giorgio Chiellini is a part owner of LAFC. A lot of interesting times indeed. Look, you and I have been to a lot of these press conferences unveiling a lot of the talent that LAFC has brought in. You were there for Giroud. I was there for Lloris. I was there for Chiellini. Now getting to be there for the likes of Son. I got to tell you, Maybe there's a slight bit of recency bias in there, but I'm pretty sure there were a lot more cameras in on this press conference than some of the other ones that we've seen in the past. It was awesome. The Gold Lot was packed 45 minutes before the darn event began. People were everywhere. People were waiting outside of the building to get his autograph. When I walked out, they thought I was somebody. Oh, look, this guy in a suit. He must know something. His son in there? Yes, he is. And then I had to walk away quickly. Dude, this is a big deal. One of the biggest signings in Major League Soccer history without question, and obviously a very big signing for LAFC.
Yeah, look, in my humble opinion, I put this one fourth for now with a little bullet because I think it could move up to third. I don't think you'll ever get bigger than David Beckham or Lionel Messi. I'm sorry. No. But Rob will like this one. I actually still put Zlatan ahead at number 3 for now, just because of he was Zlatan. I mean, come on. MLS welcomed Zlatan versus, Zlatan deciding to come over to the MLS. It was unbelievable for those couple years. But what this has the potential to be, not just for Los Angeles as a whole, but for what we know is an incredibly vibrant Korean community in and around the Los Angeles area. This is going to be something that ripples through the league for hopefully seasons to come.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, it's huge for soccer in Los Angeles. It's great that a player of his quality chose MLS and chose to come here to Los Angeles. I mean, I may get shtick from Galaxy fans, but I think it's great for the league that this happens. It's even great for this rivalry. I mean, again, if you want to be considered among the best teams in the world, you got to beat the best teams in the world, and that means teams that have the best players. And Sonny is certainly one of the best players already in MLS.
Tim, let me ask you something. We saw Antoine Griezmann in the headlines month after month, week after week, and LAFC strikes out on Griezmann. LAFC strikes out on Thomas Muller, assuming that those things went the way they did. But then they come in over the top and bring in a guy like Heung-min Son. What does it say that, you look at the front office, you look at John Thorrington and everybody else, they were able to turn the tide pretty quickly from it being a disappointing transfer window with no Griezmann and no Mueller to now having Heung-min Son?
I think what the senior management over at LAFC has done is just turn MLS on its head. The Messi signing, because Beckham is in there, that was a crazy, amazing signing. But bringing him into LAFC the way they did by him leaving Tottenham a year early, he still had that year left on his contract, and for Hotspurs to say, yep, okay, no problem. But the dollar numbers that we're talking about, setting records for an MLS transfer, these are things that LAFC is doing and really making that mark. We've talked about it all season long with the Angel City teams. You got to be number 1 or you're number 50 in LA.
Right.
This definitely puts LAFC back to number 1 in LA right now.
Yeah, it's a huge deal. Philly, I got to ask you, this isn't a 37-year-old Frenchman past his prime coming to MLS, or even if you look at Marco Reus and Thomas Muller, older quality players coming over from Europe. This is a player, and then we'll get into the 2 Leagues Cup matches, of course, that LAFC have played. But this is a player who still has a ton left in the tank. Probably not going to debut on the road over these next 3 matches, but a player who has a ton left in the tank, Philly.
I love Thomas Muller. As a German and a Bayern fan, I love beer and brats. But in the case of Kim, I think in the case of Son, I prefer kimchi and soju. This is a very good signing for us on a couple of levels, my man. Like, first off, yes, his performance at Tottenham, I don't know if he would have garnered the playing time that he was normally accustomed to. Still would have rocked the captain's armband. What I thought would have been a hesitation for him is the opportunity to at least have competed in Champions League, because obviously winning that cup, beating Manchester United, would have propelled Tottenham to go compete in Europe. But what he does have, again, is a lot in the tank. Look, 51 goals for his country. I mean, he's played 333 games in the Premier League, 19 Champions League goals, 127 Premier League goals. The guy is incredible. The players are going to want to learn from him. And not only is he going to be bringing in a lot of things off on the pitch and off the pitch as well, the most important part, and I was chatting with LAFC managing owner Bennett Rosenthal about this earlier in the day, he brings character. as well to the locker room. He's going to be an incredible teammate, somebody that the players are going to look up to, and he's going to fit in really quickly. We jokingly have been calling LAFC lately LAFC Hotspur with all the Tottenham players that they've signed recently. I forgot the fact that Lloris was Son's captain at Tottenham, so he's also going back into familiar ground. He's got a lot to prove. He said on the press conference after watching the insanity of everybody in the game yesterday, he's ready to go out there and perform. He can't guarantee his performance, but he said he guarantees that he's going to give it the best he can at everything he's got while wearing a black and gold kit.
Look, let's talk about this. 2 matches, 2 wins, 2 different ways, too little, too late for LAFC in Leagues Cup. Unfortunately, look, Denny Bwanga scores again to extend his Leagues Cup record. But unfortunately, not much they could do in their first match to get the full 3 points. But Tomas Hasal coming out of nowhere, 2 excellent saves in PKs to propel LAFC to the 2 points. And then we see more heavy roster rotation for LAFC in that third match that we just saw back at BMO Stadium. Philly, your thoughts on how Steve Cherundolo handled this whole Leagues Cup run and what it could mean for LAFC's MLS Cup chances moving forward?
Something you and I have heard him say consistently in these press conferences at LAFC is the scheduling congestion and the fact that you can't put your foot on the gas the entire time around. There was plenty of roster rotation. Much to our surprise, Denny Bwanga didn't even make the 18. When Steve was asked about it, he said he wasn't ready for it. I don't know what that means. He's not going anywhere, though. He's doing a meet and greet in Pasadena, so fear not. But look, the games that played recently, look, Tigres came at LAFC with everything they got. I mean, they started Correa, who was riding a 2-game brace streak in Leagues Cup. And then obviously Andre Pierre Gignac, the French phenom, the menace from Martinique or wherever exactly he's from. They weren't trying to mess around, but they got messed up by doubting LAFC's B squad. And there was a lot of good performances from a lot of players, but no player stood out, obviously, other than Thomas the Wall Hasal. But David Martinez, his coming out party was incredible. We saw a 19-year-old boy mature into a 20-year-old man. I don't know if he's 28, he's going to be. But the way he performed, that's what LAFC fans are expecting out of this Venezuelan sensation.
Yeah, no, look, the kid has been touted as the best prospect for a long time. Tim, what does it mean, though, that they're able to get meaningful minutes from players like Yaya Boa, Adam Saldana, Frankie Amaya, Kenneth Nielsen, obviously Artem Smolyakov, who played one heck of a game last night. They're able to get these meaningful minutes in Leagues Cup before they go back into the grind of MLS Cup. We've talked about it a lot with Orange County needing to find their depth. It looked like LAFC was able to use this Leagues Cup tournament to find theirs.
And that's one of the things that's going to propel LAFC deeper into the playoffs by allowing them to do that, by getting a lot of these extra guys, all these extra minutes, and not putting full 90s on guys like Denny Bwanga, right? By being able to do that, and let's bring Robin on this, is when you're able to put in a B squad, as it were, that is competing with most other people's A squad, it makes a huge difference, right, Rob?
Yeah, no, depth is really important. I mean, there's been times this season where the Galaxy have had a thin bench and haven't had really the resources to call on, and so it's great that, you know, they've been called the B squad, but I mean, all it means is that the bench is deep and that these are players that are able to be called on whenever is needed.
Yeah, I think we should call it the BBR squad. Better be ready.
Look, absolutely. Unfortunately, we got to say bye-bye to both Philly and Rob. Rob, we'll have you back on for Best 11. Philly, it's always good to have you on here, my friend. Love you, buddy. And with that, let's hear from our good friends over at National Core. National Core is one of the nation's largest nonprofit housing developers and, of course, a proud sponsor of your MASL team, the Empire Strykers, out at Toyota Arena. At National Core, they believe that soccer has the power to transform lives just like they do. They believe in building strong communities on and off the field. And to learn more about National Core and their mission, head on over to nationalcore.org. Of course, That means a massive amount to our interviewee today, one Jeff Burum. Again, just to remind you, all he does in his spare time is become the managing partner of the Empire Strykers, president of the Major Arena Soccer League, the highest level of indoor soccer in the world. And Tim, he spent some time with us with another fantastic interview from Jeff Burum.
Yeah, it was great. And let's go to that interview right away there, Scarf.
Our guest is the man who was instrumental in luring Mexican star and two-time FIFA World Cup veteran Marco Fabián to Southern California and to the Major Arena Soccer League. The LA Times called him the Empire Strykers' hyper-aggressive owner, but I'm sure he prefers the term managing partner with a vision. His goal, simple, to return indoor soccer to its glory days with the Strykers leading the way on and off the field. It is such a joy to have with us Strykers managing partner and president of the entire Major Arena Soccer League, Mr. Jeff Burum. Jeff, welcome to Soccer in 60.
I'm excited to be here, Philly. Tim, good to see you both.
Always excited to have
buddy.
you in the mix. Oh, let's get right into it, Jeff. Look, for the past month or so, we've been talking about the historic free youth camp the Empire Strykers put on last week. Now, can you tell our listeners who missed it what exactly your organization did and why was it such a big deal?
Well, we're still trying to get the final count, but it's over 2,000 children in 1 week. We provided 6 hours of training a day for 5 days, and one on Thursday we did double duty, the cities of Rancho Cucamonga and Fontana. But in Monday and Tuesday we also did camps in Upland, California, and it was to give kids some real training in soccer. Obviously, get them out of the house. And get them, some free gear. Get them a ball, get them a camp shirt with our logo on it. But it was certainly, an idea that took a lot of hard work.
One of the official press releases about the camp pointed out that the Strykers were, quote, setting a new standard for community engagement at a time when it's needed most. Would you mind elaborating on that a little bit?
Well, listen, most of the listeners out there know that it's not an easy time in the world today for a lot of reasons, and particularly for kids and for families, and as we all know, happy wife, happy life for us that are married, happy parents, happy kids, and, also follow. So we wanted to give some relief to some, parents out there, some single moms, give them a couple days off by taking their kids into a healthy environment, get them out of the house, get them off the video games, get them outside with our great hospital partners. Both the Loma Linda Children's Hospital and San Antonio have been really getting us into more of a healthy living environment. And so the idea of the camp was to really set a standard. And, I'm a very spiritual person, and donating and giving of yourself is meant to be painful when you're giving what you can to the level that you should. And so it was painful for me. It was painful for my wife, my son, my daughter, all the ones in the front office. We had interns out there picking up canopies. National Corps had, 1,500 volunteers out there. It was crazy hard and hot. Let me tell you, hardest physical work I've done in a couple decades, I'll say.
Yeah, and that's amazing. And you mentioned it. And not only did you give the everybody the day off from watching their kids, they did it for free. This camp, if nobody remembers, was 100% free, paid for by the Strykers, paid for by all of the sponsors of this event. And Jeff, you told our creative director, who is also the head of communications for the Strykers, that one challenge people don't think about is keeping over 2,000 kids safe from outside intruders during a massive event like this. Can you talk a little bit more about what went into that? And what were some of the other challenges people might not realize?
Well, obviously, we wanted things to go well. And in today's world, it's unfortunate. Child abductions, custody disputes come into play all the time in the everyday lives of families. So we were very concerned when you're bringing, hundreds, upwards 500-600 kids in one location, to keep an eye on them, to keep them, so where we knew. So we created a whole system. We've done some things before. We have a big charity event we do every year, shopping with kids, where we do at one of my local shopping centers where we have kids shop for free. So what we do is we tag, forgive me, the expression tag, but we band the children to their parents, same color, put a number on it. So at the end of the day, a child, when they're going off, has to be matched by the wristband. And we had security standing. We had walkie-talkies, that we had going on the perimeters, so that we made sure everybody stayed safe during the entire trip. And so that was really the point. And, getting back to, it was logistically tough. It was a lot of hard physical work. But let me tell you, I couldn't be more proud of my team, my players, my front office. I mean, Tim, you saw it. You came out there. It was unbelievable. I mean, and the smiles and the council members, the supervisor, Jesse Armendariz helped fund this. You just saw the enchantment on the fields that day. It was magical. People getting autographs and getting sandwiches, because we had people donating food every day when they heard about the camps. It was just a magical experience, and and I hope it puts some goodwill into this world, for these kids, for their families, for our organization, for the MASL, for our players, our lives, and we were literally building community that day.
Yeah, I was out there with you on Friday, Jeff, and I've not seen you look more tired but more happy in my entire life. It was fantastic. And you mentioned, Supervisor Armendariz. Talk about some of the other guys that came out, like Verizon, and then ESPN LA Radio came out and broadcast live.
Yeah, I mean, it's really going to be fun when we do it again next year, because we've got a lot of interest and a lot of folks out there. But obviously, I mean, the major ones were County San Bernardino, Jesse Armendariz, Loma Linda Children's Hospitals, National Corps, Verizon, MGR, the list goes on. I think there were 32 companies that donated, from water to Frito-Lay came in at the end with like thousands of bags of chips for the kids during a snack break. Raising Cane's came out and did a bunch of gifts and a bunch of food. Kids just mauled them. We got it all on video. It was truly a building community. It was businesses coming together for the kids, for the families. And it was, you just saw the joy. I mean, Marco saw the joy. Justin Stinson was out there. All of our players, Alan Perez, all three of our goalkeepers. Clayson was out there. Brian was out there. Brandon was out there. You name it. Harold Hansen was out there. Their idols were out there signing autographs. Every one of these kids, and our players signed autographs to the last kids back on those camp shirts. Didn't want one. It was a beautiful spiritual experience for me.
Yeah, and you mentioned among the strikers that coached at the camp are Mexican legend and Olympic gold medalist Marco Fabián. You mentioned Justin as well, who's the reigning MASL Golden Boot runner-up. And then reigning MASL Coach of the Year, Onua Abasi. Marco Fabián was no doubt an especially big draw for a lot of the kids, and we also saw him being interviewed on ESPN Radio and Telemundo. What does it mean to have him part of such an event, and what can you say about how he interacts with the community and the media?
Marco's a real pro. I mean, he's been a real pro for 15 years in this world. He gets it. He's been at the highest level. But what he really gets better than most, and why he's on our team, he gets community, and he gets what it takes to give back. He was one of those kid ones, right? He doesn't forget that. So he comes out. Whenever I call, Marco answers. He shows up, does whatever we need. As the coach, other people that I forgot to mention, the coach, as you brought up, Coach Abasi, Andy Reyes put in so much time, during this whole process. Momo guy, there were so many more that we're forgetting. They were all real professionals, really worked hard, stayed, during the length of the camps. Most of them worked all 5 days, which I'm going to say again, was
Incredible.
Extremely hard and tough. And now I know why, these other major league clubs haven't done it yet. It's hard work. It's hard work, Philly. But by God, if you're going to have all this money and you're going to have this fan base, it shouldn't be the smallest major league team in town that shows the rest how to give back to the community. They should, at this time forward, they should start following our lead and start helping these kids in the community. We all need it in the world today. Just a little inspiration from some of our heroes.
Yeah, breaking hearts and setting trends. That's the mission of the Strykers. And speaking of which, talk about maybe possibly breaking bank. I don't know. That man right there, whose jersey stands to my upper right, Marco Fabián, the legend himself. It was recently announced that he resigned with the Empire and will be staying with the club for at least another 2 seasons. Amazing. How important was it for you to get that deal done?
Well, I mean, Marco and I were always candidly feeling we're going to do the deal. We just trusted each other enough that we just waited till we both had the time to get together. The Verizon event was one that we could. We got together at the table and literally got it eat. He just, by the way, just got his green card. So he's a resident of the United States now. So timing for everything was just perfect. And obviously he's leadership not only for this team, but for the league. He sets a standard. He is a beacon for other star players around the world that continue to call. I get a lot of phone calls these days since Marco plays for us from players that until I sign them, I'm not mentioning them. So if you guys want me to mention you on the air, you better sign. Stop negotiating because you're not going to get any more money than we can afford. So, but we got some great talent that's paying attention because of Marco. We got the world paying attention. We're going to go back to Monaco probably here in October, and we're going to sign another, 30 or 40 countries up to take our broadcast. That's the goal.
That's amazing. So you're expanding the Empire Strykers empire to the entire world, Jeff. I can't help but congratulate you every time we talk to you. There's always something new, and Philly mentioned it a few minutes ago. You've got the vision to take this back to where it was 20, 30 years ago. And I'm just very impressed, Mr. Burum. It's great. Now, Empire's made a few signings and a few key re-signings over the past couple of months. And every time we talk to Coach Onuobasi, he seems to be busy traveling and scouting players. What has the communication been like with him in terms of roster decisions and acquisitions?
Listen, Coach Abbasi and I talk several times a day. Even when he was in Italy, we got that great, WhatsApp where you can get on international Wi-Fi calls for free. So we used it. We text all the time. He's a really bright young man, really cares about this team and really wants to build it his way. And I'm going to, give him, I've learned a lot as being a managing partner over the last 3 or 4 years in particular. It creates I've always wanted a good culture, and I know what a good culture is from my value system, right? But doing it with athletes and doing it in a locker room requires the coach to have 100% buy-in, not only from me, but from his players. So Coach Abbasi's, is making the decisions on who's coming in. I just have to, he recruits, and I just say yes at this point. I want him, he knows, to build a championship quality team, not just for this year, not just for next year. But listen, he's recruiting a championship team to be a dynasty. Look at the age. We already have the youngest team in the league. And you take out our 2 great stars, which you will never take out of my equation anytime soon, Berto Palmer and Marco. We are the youngest team in the league by like 3 years as an average with all these new players coming in, 22, 23-year-olds. Crazy talented young guys. Might take him a year or so, but some of them are so talented, he thinks we're going to blend in quick like some of the players did last year under his leadership.
The amount of acquisitions and transfers that have been going on, it's clear that the Strykers are playing chess while everybody is playing checkers. Now, speaking of the MASL, we have famously one of the longest off seasons of any major professional sports league in North America. We mentioned in the intro, you're the league president. For anybody such as myself who is suffering from indoor soccer withdrawal symptoms, is there anything that you can tease that people can look forward to when the ball starts rolling again later this year?
Well, listen, I will say there are several things. One, about the teams themselves. We are trying to up our standards in order, sort of like the MLS several decades ago, they had to go back to go up. We have some franchises, some memberships in our league, as we call them under our bylaws, membership versus franchises. I always use the term franchise, always get corrected by the league office. We're memberships because we're a 501c6. Well, great. But the fact is, we've got some great owners in this league. I mean, some great owners. I mean, look what Phil just did with Front Wave Arena down there. I mean, Lane has been, helping teams in this league for decades, like Phil. And we got great partners in Bud and Shelley in St. Louis and Kansas City, back east. We've got, great ownerships and great cultural teams, that have been around a long time in Baltimore and Milwaukee. So it's just a matter of us living up to the standard of the modern major sports leagues, right? And so my job I've taken on for the last 2 years is to raise that standard. Better broadcasting, better opportunities, better opportunities to show better broadcasts. And I think so this coming year, we've learned a lot. I'm hoping our broadcasts are even better and reach more people. This coming year is the goal than we have in the past. Might have a few less franchises in the league, or memberships in the league this year, but you will also be seeing announcements that we are in active negotiations for expansion. We literally have a half dozen ongoing conversations with different cities right now, several which I've already started to pull the trigger. So it's going to be a fun, exciting time, but it's it's growth. And that's what it's going to take. And that's what it's going to take to increase our, fan base around this world, around this league. People got to see our sport, and they got to see it in a quality broadcast, so they'll stay on watching more than 10 minutes and say, wow, the game's great. And then all of a sudden there's a glitch in the broadcast. It's a cheap broadcast. No, we're going to make it so they stay and watch the whole games when they get hooked.
I can't wait. I'm chomping at the bit for the opportunity to get back there and start calling games for your Empire Strikers. You made a comment earlier, a quote, happy wife, happy life. I like to kind of flip it around and go happy spouse, happy house. And by saying that, I'm pretty sure that all our spouses would like to take a little bit of our time because we're always working. All three of us are always working. So that being said, Mr. Burum, always a pleasure to have you on. Thank you so much for your time. Greatly appreciate all of your hard work and everything that you do for the Empire Strikers, for the league and the community as a whole. Thank you, and looking forward to seeing you soon.
Well, Tim and Philly, God bless you both. You guys are an inspiration to me. I watch your show every week. I told Tim that. I said sometimes I fast forward through some segments of some of the teams that I'm not as interested in. But I always watch the show. But thank you for all that you guys do. We're very blessed to have you as part of our crew.
Thank you. We're all blessed.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, look, being able to have a guy like Jeff on, I mean, come on. He's absolutely incredible with the interview. Took the whole time because he can take the whole time, and we absolutely love having Jeff Burum on. Jeff, thank you so much. Look, Angel City, Tim, kind of stuck in it over the last couple of months. It didn't help that they had a month and a half off without playing, but we're talking about a club that hasn't won since very, very early May. And you mentioned it, I forget the term that you used in pre-show for their match against Seattle Reign, that 2-0 loss. Can you remind me again what you said pre-show on that one?
Yeah, it's a ding thud of a game. It was a tough one. I mean, they looked lethargic. They looked not ready to play. Either that or Seattle just came out and put a whooping on them. But I think it's a little bit of both. Seattle looked really good. They dominated play. If you look at time of possession, which doesn't always mean everything, as we well know, the scoreboard's the scoreboard. But when you are pressing as much as they are, putting that type of pressure on Angel City's defense, the entire game, the entire first 90 minutes of the game, it's kind of tough to get a couple of shots off and get some of these players going. And I understand that there's a lot of young people, a lot of young players on Angel City. They have, the second or third youngest team in the league. But when you have those type of fresh legs and you played one match in 5 weeks, you got to expect more out of Angel City. They got to come right out the hop.
Yeah, here's the tough part with Angel City right now, right? They get Alex Strauss in from Bayern, and a lot of changes have to be made, a new system, a new everything at Angel City. They do have plenty of time to implement it, but then what Angel City goes and does is makes themselves a lot deeper and a lot better talent-wise by bringing in players who made, for instance, their debut in that 2-0 loss against Seattle Reign. You have Evelyn Shores, Svendis Jonsdottir. Oh, by the way, June Endo back in the starting lineup for an NWSL match. Lots to be excited about. But, Tim, you might have just hit the nail perfectly on the head. you get everybody acclimated to this new system. Maybe you get things rolling, but now you've got to acclimate 2 new players and get June Endo back in. It's a weird hurry up and wait, 2 steps forward, maybe 1, 2, 3 steps back and 1 to the side for Angel City. The bottom line, though, Tim, is they got to get going. They're just 4 points out of a playoff spot, 10 matches to play. But the run of form, winless in their last 6, what was it, May 6th or 7th, I think, was their last win. It's a little hyperbole, right, because they hadn't played for 6 weeks, but they still haven't won since May. That's got to take a little bit of a toll.
I think it does. I think it strains the mental aspect of the players. I think having 5-6 weeks off in the middle of your season strains the mental aspects of your players, because while they're all training, they're probably not all training together. And then you mentioned it, you got Svendis comes in, you got June back into the starting lineup. She's been gone away for a year and a half. You get Evelyn, she comes in. And there's a lot of moving pieces that they're all high caliber players, but to put all them together is that puzzle piece that that Coach Alex Strauss has got to put together. He's got to get them to fit, and without a hammer, pound them in, right? They've got to get together and be able to play as a team. And you mentioned it, with 4 points out of a playoff spot, and they still have 10 matches to go, they could easily make it into the playoffs. But the reality is this: if they keep laying eggs, 2, 3, 4 more games, they're not making the playoffs.
And you mentioned all the new players. We didn't talk about Sarah Dorson, who just came over, Allie Riley coming off the season-ending injury list. What we do know is there is a wealth of talent, both on the bench and on the pitch, for Angel City. So if and when they are able to kickstart that offense and bring everything together over these last 10 matches, it can really pick up in a hurry, because, oh, by the way, you've still got your backline leader in Sarah Gordon. You've got Kristen Press, who's coming off the bench now in like a super sub role. I don't know that, by the way, I think it was, we said it in the last run-up, if you're not first, you're 50th in Los Angeles. I don't know that there's a way where they cannot make the playoffs and still feel relevant in some way, shape, or form. I think it's got to happen for Angel City, especially in a league that's still very, very wide open. We're talking about a team winless in their last 6, and yet only 4 points out of a playoff spot. The other exciting thing is this. Our good buddy Mark Rogandino, who's been calling matches in the Los Angeles area for forever, has his hands full for 6 Angel City matches. They're going to be broadcast on FanDuel Sports Network. The first one was, unfortunately, that 2-0. One more time again, Tim? The
Ding thud
of a match. Thank you so much. At Lumen Field, they've got their match against the Utah Royals, Orlando Pride, Bay FC, Washington Spirit, and Kansas City Current for matches through October on this FanDuel Sports Network. Yet another way to get these matches out from behind a paywall like they are at Paramount Plus, like these MLS matches are at Apple TV, and be able to see some incredible talent, none better, in my opinion, than Alyssa Thompson, Kennedy Fuller. Getting these matches out from behind a paywall, getting Angel City out in front, Tim, has to be a big lift.
I think what MLS did by bringing Messi over, they kind of had to go behind that paywall. I think it is, I won't say unconscionable is the right word, but it's pretty close. NWSL cannot be behind a paywall. I'm sorry. The best thing that they can do is to get these things out to as many people as possible. It's kind of like the Strykers. There's going to be some big news with that coming up to international things. The NWSL has to get their games on TV and not just on some of the networks that they've been on over the previous years. They've got to get it onto CBS, some form of CBS, or onto ESPN. And the Amazon thing is great. Again, paywall, right? And so if you can get them out from behind a paywall, they must be able to get it on a nationwide, national TV basis.
Yeah, and look, the FanDuel Sports Network, a perfect launching point for this. It's Mark Rogandino and U.S. Women's National Team goalkeeper Saskia Weber, a legend in the U.S. women's game. She's also an ACFC investor, by the way. So she's got a lot going on calling these games. That's going to be fun for the two of them. So really excited for Angel City to expand in that way. Look, the bottom line is they got to get going, and it has to start Saturday, August 9th. They're traveling a couple hundred miles down the road to San Diego Wave. All they've done is score the second most goals in the league so far. No Alex Morgan walking through that door anytime soon, but it's still the San Diego Wave. Look, after putting up 4 goals in each of their last 2 league matches, you can see Timmy's eyes light up here on his birthday. The USL itself was the only thing, Timmy, that could cool off Orange County Soccer Club, as they've pretty much been off since our last show. But what a road trip they have planned, taking on the Pittsburgh Riverhounds at Highmark Stadium in Pittsburgh, PA. And it's kind of fitting, right? You got the high mark of the season right now for Orange County Soccer Club, heading to Highmark Stadium in Pittsburgh.
Yeah, and this is, they didn't play, but they should still be in the best 11. We can debate that later. But their run of play has been really, really nice. They played Vegas, crushed them. Oakland won a tough one that had no bearing for them, right? And then they take on Phoenix, crush them. Now, to go into Pittsburgh, this one's a little bit different, and you mentioned it. They are 5-1-2 at home. They're 2-0-3 in their last 5. They got a late equalizer the other night to get the draw. But they flamed out of the Jägermeister Cup. They went 1-2-1 in Jägermeister. But you got Augie Williams, you got Robbie Mertz. These guys are leading the club with 4 goals apiece. But what they're not going to be able to handle is Mohamedou War and Ethan Zubak and Chris Hagart playing the way they do. If they play anywhere near the level that they played against Phoenix, this is going to be one heck of a game. I expect this one to be tight. I don't expect it to be a 4-1 thrashing that, they put on Phoenix. But what I do expect, I expect 2 or 3 goals out of each of these teams. I'm looking, maybe a 2-2 draw. But the Riverhounds just play a very solid game. And the way that Coach Stone has Orange County playing right now, Scarf, I'm thinking this is the upset of USL Championship of the weekend.
I like it. I don't know. I think OCSC is right there on par with those Pittsburgh Riverhounds. They're top 4 in the East, I think. OCSC, they haven't played, so they fell to 7th, but that's not indicative of their form, as we've been talking about quite a bit. And look, all I'm saying is, since Chris Hagart came on Soccer in 60 several weeks ago, he has absolutely been on fire. We're not taking credit, but I'm not going to not take credit for something that we might have done here on Soccer in 60. Moved into the top 20 in assists in USL, top 10 in chances created. He's really been the motor. He's really been the engine of this club, and found kind of that leadership role, I think, too, with OCSC this year.
Yeah, I think Hagart's been the genie in the bottle. I think they let him out. They've gotten him to play really, really well inside of the system. You guys got Tom Brewitt on the back line. You've got Ousmane Silla playing that central along with Hagart. And then just the goal that Hagart had the other day against Vegas at the champ, the one that he just took off the free kick and they gave him space and he went in and he just rifled the ball far corner at the top of the 18. You get a guy like that, you get him confident, and you put him with Zubak, he's a proven goal scorer in the league. Watch out.
Yeah, it's going to be tough, right? As they don't come back to the champ until August 30th. They've got to kind of find their road legs for these next few matches. It's going to be interesting. It's also going to be interesting. You mentioned that you thought OCSC should even be part of Best 11. Let's bring our buddy Rob Halon back on one more time. I promise he's supposed to go up here in the corner.
Hey guys, how are you?
Welcome back, buddy.
Well,
the internet's was not cooperating here today. Sorry about that.
All good. Look, this is one of our favorite segments here on Soccer in 60, LA's Best 11, which, of course, gives us the best 11 players of the week based on their performances from the previous week. And hold on, Angel City fans. You can send all your hate mail to Gunner. That's our creative director. We'll get to him in just a second. Let's get into this best 11. You got keeper Novak Mitrovic, defenders, and I put this in quotes, Artem Smolyakov, Ryan Raposo, and Emiro Garces. Midfielders, Gabriel Peck, Marco Royce, Diego Fagundes, and Denis Bouanga in the midfield. And forwards, Joseph Paintsel, Mateus Nascimento, and David Martinez. Look, these are all from Leagues Cup matches. They played Tijuana, Tigres, Cruz Azul, Pachuca. It's a fun time. Where in the world are any players from Angel City FC? I know, again, Tim, if you wouldn't mind, what kind of a match was it again?
Ding thud.
A ding thud match, but maybe Angelina Anderson. I don't know, some love for somebody there in Angel City. It's at Gunner Burnt, everybody, if you want to find out. But let me ask you, Rob, first of all, it's a very Don Garber-ish lineup here in the All-Star game. We're just plugging and playing players here. This is a lot of fun. Who stands out for you in this best 11?
Honestly, Emiro Garces, the lad went from a really nice game in El Tráfico to playing two really good games in the Leagues Cup here. He continues his development. It's good to see him kind of take that benching that he had earlier in the year, learn from it, and come back stronger for it. Also great to see the forwards, Joseph Paintsel, Mateus Nascimento on here. Joseph Paintsel as well was going through kind of a barren spell, got a couple of goals, got an assist. Mateus Nascimento producing as well. He may be playing himself into that loan extension, maybe getting a contract from the Galaxy.
No, look, he looks every bit of that player that came over from Botafogo with all the hype, and I think he really looks good. That's Captain Joseph Paintsel on this one for sure. 7 Galaxy players, 4 from LAFC, and I think I'll say this: at least our producer and our creative director Gunnar got the 11 right, in my opinion, on this one. Again, all apologies to Angel City. Tim, who stands out for you on this one?
I think it's I'm with you guys. I'm liking Paintsel on this one. I think he deserves the captain's armband on this one. He deserves the front-facing picture on our best 11 if you're on YouTube with us and Empire Strikers Network. I think it's Paintsel. I think this is a no-brainer to make him the captain and put him at the top of the heap.
No, I love it. And you look at guys like Artem Smolyakov and Ryan Raposo. Those are players who don't get first team minutes all that often for LAFC. So again, what Steve Cherundolo was able to do with roster rotation and getting a lot out of those guys. Smolyakov played his best match of the season in black and gold against Tigres. But I gotta shout out my man David Martinez. He was given the keys to the kingdom with no Denis Bouanga versus Tigres, and all he did was have an incredible brace, including what was really like his first man's goal. And I hate to be kind of gender normative with it, but he took that one all the way into the box, couple of different contacts, still stayed with it, put it in the back of the net. And again, Angel City supporters, it's Gunner Burnt is our creative director on this one. I don't know where y'all went, but it's time to say goodbye to everybody here. Thank you so much for tuning in to Soccer in 60. Once again, brought to you by SAC Health System, the fastest paced soccer podcast in SoCal. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Please rate our podcast, and we will see you all next week